this. Do you think Arsenal's owners are sweating and sleeping at night, thinking about Newcastle's financial situation? Or they're worried
No.
about Bournemouth losing out? They're not, are they? Is anybody worried about that? Nobody is. And I'll say this, there's a reason why we have a big six, because the same big six always go to the Champions Leagues, always perform in the highest honours.
Big six doesn't mean anything.
Okay, between yourselves, Tottenham, Liverpool, Chelsea, and everybody else, you have consistently over the past 20 years been in the Champions League more than any other club, like by treble the amount of times. It is an outlier for Newcastle, for Aston Villa, for anybody else to be in the Champions League. If PSR is there to help to create a more fairer competition where more clubs can prosper, why is it not happening? It's been 20.
PSR is to protect owners from running clubs to the ground.
Bumper sticker comment, Egal, you have to do better.
No.
I literally just gave you a real breakdown.
Honest truth. Originally, PSR came in to protect owners from themselves. That's why.
You sound
because if you want to build the club from the ground up and be a competitive outfit through recruitment and through good scouting, you and also through developing through your academy, you can build a good enough team to be a consistent Champions League squad.
Just like Brighton.
Once you get there and you establish yourself for 5 to 10 years, you then can build a good enough fan base and good enough revenue stream.
Egal, you're not listening to anything I've just said. Brighton have a great academy, they buy and sell players. Southampton have a great academy, they buy and sell players. Bournemouth have a fantastic. Southampton. Brighton has been absolutely pillaged from top to bottom, from all of their scouting, from all of their managers, from all of their players by Chelsea and other clubs, including ourselves. Tell me, how is Brighton going to be a consistent Champions League club?
So, there's quite a gap. There's quite a gap to talk about Brighton. If we talk about Newcastle and Aston Villa, they can potentially sustain it, but they need to take. It's going to take a little bit longer, because in the Premier League there's already so many big fish compared to other leagues where there's small, where there's less big fish.
Okay. Yeah, I think both things are true. I've followed FFP since 2010. I used to follow this lawyer guy who had a podcast about it and stuff. He used to, back in the late 2000s, the early 2010s, European football was losing over £1 billion a season. So there were big clubs in other countries, especially, that were going out of business. Even more recently, like it's been. There have been clubs that have been mismanaged financially. I remember back in the day, Portsmouth. Was it Sasha Geidermark who bought them, and then it made out he was like some kind of crazy billionaire, and then disappeared and left them in a bit of a hole.
Portsmouth, right?
And then who was the player who refused to leave? Was it I can't remember. It was a long time ago. Berry went bankrupt recently, so I think there is something to be said for
Man City. Man City almost went bankrupt, but luckily they sold the team.
But so there is something to be said for financial prudence. Now, I think PSR, FFP, or however you want to describe it, is a bit of a blunt tool, in the sense that I think Gary Neville's talked about it. If you are an extremely wealthy owner, there's ways and safeguards you can put in place to say that, look, if I walk away from this team, if this team goes bankrupt, if foul play is found, or something like that, you put a certain amount in escrow or in a separate bank account that's monitored by the league, that's under control of the league. And so if a super rich owner decides to wash his hands and say, you know what, sod it, I don't care, then there's some funds set aside as a means of security. That seems like a reasonable measure. I think definitely a byproduct. And don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure Liverpool and Man United and all these guys, they also didn't want to see another Man City or another Chelsea come along, because before Chelsea came along, Arsenal were unquestionably the biggest club in London. Now there's a significant question. There is a question, because you could say in London they are, but I would argue it's definitely arguable that Chelsea have a bigger global fan base, and that's arisen over the next 20 years. When people say that Man City will never be the same size as Liverpool or whatever. I'm like, if you give them this Guardiola levels of success for the next 50 years, I can't say it's never going to happen.
Yeah,
but they will overtake pretty much any, because
100%.
people and younger fans in general will gravitate towards success.
I know, but the thing about Newcastle and Brighton and all these other teams, what's stopping them is not a cartel. What's stopping them is we've already established to a certain level. It's going to take them time to bridge that gap, 10, maybe 15 years of consistently bouncing between Europa League and Champions League football, where you can then get, because this is how it takes. You don't just all of a sudden pop in and become. I don't think you can do that. You can't because
hold on, Egal.
Because in the Premier League,
your whole story. Just a moment. Your whole thing. You have to pick your argument here. Are you arguing for PSR as sustainability? Because you started us off the whole saying we don't want clubs to go bankrupt, or which is your argument now, Newcastle and other clubs have to wait 10, 15 years before their turn.
They're going to have to build themselves up. Because
okay, so hold on. This is the key question here. You need to give me what your argument is. Do you care about Newcastle's sustainability or competition?
Based on the current system, you can't go from spending. Based on the current system, you can't go from spending the kind of wages where you spend right now to spending similar wages to Manchester City, because it will then bankrupt the club when you have multiple players on 300K a week and you cannot sustain it. Because Manchester City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal have a set amount of income that they make from their fans globally and locally, plus. They have more commercial deals that are much higher.
It's there to protect you then. You do agree
One second. They have much higher commercial deals, and all these things is because their brand is valued at more. For you to get your brand and your club valued to the same level where you can spend similar type of money and you can then push the financial bill a lot higher, similar to what Liverpool's doing right now, or similar to what Man City or Chelsea do. One, you're going to have to sell a lot of academy players. Two, you're going to have to flip a bunch of players to be able to fund that kind of money, to spend more in the market, to sustain the amount of spending that you want to do. Because Newcastle cannot spend the type of money that other clubs can spend.
Why not? You're still not telling me why.
Because they have more cash value already established in the team. No owner can just come in and spend whatever they want, because then they can absolutely just run out of money and say, I'm not spending any more money. And the club will go down the drain.
You're spending
but this is the thing. This is the safeguard.
You're not letting me speak. You're literally going on a long monologue.
Safeguard the clubs. And you're making it seem like it's not.
But you're not safeguarding us. You're giving me two. You got to pick your argument.
The parameters are there to protect the owners from.
If you want to have a conversation, you have to hear fully what I'm saying to you, because you're not answering my questions. Is your concern about Newcastle's sustainability, i.e. you don't want us to go broke like Blackburn and everybody else? Or are you concerned, or are you more talking about, well, you have to wait 10 to 15 years, like this arbitrary number that Newcastle have to wait their turn? Which one is it? Pick your poison.
I'm just giving you the parameters in which you can potentially reach the level.
Why? Why should I listen to your parameters? What's so special about your parameters?
Because those are the realistic levels that it would take for you to build up your club financially to be able to spend that kind of money.
No, what's realistic for us?
Because you don't go all of a sudden from making the money Newcastle was making coming from the championship to getting Champions League football to being able to say.
Egal, who decides that?
Your club cannot generate the same level of shirt sponsor, the same level of, because you guys are not valued the same.
By who?
Based on
because Man City have just been in court for sponsorship deals, and those laws have just been proven unlawful. The Premier League chose not to listen to it and still amend it, and Man City are bringing them back. That already tells you that the rules that are there are unlawful. They're not even just incorrect or need a minor amendment. They are illegal, because these guys are choosing. Who gets to choose what Newcastle's market is? Who gets to choose that? If the owner, if you want to sell your Arsenal shirt to somebody else, Should I tell you, Egal, how much you should sell your Arsenal shirt for? Should I say to you, Egal, I don't think Arsenal are
There's something
rubbish,
called
man.
fair market value.
They're not
If,
even the
if,
top.
if Newcastle sell their shirt sponsor for
Egal, you're just
65 million
talking.
a year,
Who decides what fair market value is? The market, right?
it's comparison. No,
So
it's
if
it's
someone
comparison
chooses to
comes
come
around
in,
your value
if somebody chooses to come and sponsor Newcastle, right,
for
and they
65
believe,
million. That's wrong.
if why is that okay? So according to Egal, it's wrong
Because you
that's
cannot,
no problem.
you cannot justify Newcastle selling their shirt
And
sponsor
you
for 5
cannot,
million more than Liverpool, Arsenal, and
you
Chelsea.
cannot justify
No.
what that Newcastle can't have 65 million just because Egal says so.
There's nothing, Egal, there's nothing actually wrong with it. It's against the rules. The question is, are the rules fair or valid or reasonable or unreasonable? There's nothing wrong with doing
They're saying
it.
the rules are set by us to stop them. But I'm saying it's not realistic for you to come out here and say you're going to sell your shirts for more than the most expensive shirt in the club in the Premier League.
Okay, Egal, you're getting two arguments. Who's winning all the trophies? Who's going to all the Champions Leagues?
Currently, right now, it's either Man City or
For the
Liverpool.
last 20 years, who's been winning all the trophies and going to all the Champions Leagues?
Some of the top teams, yeah.
Which top teams?
Traditionally, the top 6 and sometimes
Right.
others.
You just can't say it, can you?
No, but what you have to understand is this is not like Italy, Spain. It's not like Italy, Spain, France, where there's less top teams. In the Premier League, there's more top teams because the teams at the top have more money than the rest, and that's
why.
Because they have more fans. Because they have more fans.
It's not that
because they generate more interest.
Egal, my owners have more money than your owners by 50 times.
But it's not about the owners. It's about the fan base. It's about the interest.
According to so how do you know what Newcastle?
1 second, we got my boy in the building. Yo, what's going on, bro?
I'm good. I was streaming as you sent a message. I went back to my stream and I didn't realize you were live at this point in time. How are you doing?
I'm doing
Big
well.
Up, Rich. Good to see you.
Big up, Rich. We're kind of having an argument about FFP and just saying is it to stop the teams like Newcastle from developing, or is it actually meant to safeguard them?
Safeguard us.
I think it's annoying everybody. Like, it's annoying me because everyone's talking about spreadsheets rather than actually players to improve our team. I think one of the things that's annoying is it seems to incentivize selling academy players to balance and to effectively be able to spend more, which I don't think is good for football generally. Like, why is it great to sell Kobe Mainoo but not great to sell other players? Like, why you prioritize? It seems that I don't know. Maybe
because you bought them for a lot of money. That's right. Because then, if you sell one of your academy players, we all know it's pure profit, right? But if you've bought a player for 100 million, you're selling him 50 million. You've already made a loss. That's obviously not very good.
I think the thing is, okay, if you're looking at trying to say as a blanket, is it 100? How much is it over 3 years? Is it 120 million?
105 million over 3 years.
105 million. Then the thing is, though, if you want to make it sustainable, surely Manchester United can afford to lose more money than other clubs because the turnover is much higher. So why isn't it a percentage of your turnover?
It's going to be. It's going to. Well, that's the squad cost ratio.
The rule doesn't make sense, does it? If the rules about sustainability, and Manchester United lose 150 million, that's what less than a quarter of our turnover. But for Brentford, it could be their annual turnover. I mean, it probably isn't, but a team getting promoted. So a team get promoted can spend 100 million, effectively take a loss, which might be more than their club's annual turnover. Whereas Manchester United can't lose 20% of theirs. It doesn't make sense. So I don't know what the motivation is really. Maybe it is to annoy Newcastle fans, but
I think the point
doesn't make sense.
The reason they do that's I think part of the reason why they do it is they also spread it over 3 years. So it's not, you can still have a big summer, but then as long as you bring it back into proportion in subsequent or previous years, like Liverpool have done kind of this year, then it kind of balances out. So you can recruit to some extent.
I view it.
If you've made big financial mistakes in the transfer market, then it kind of penalises you in that regard.
It does highlight Manchester United's incompetence, doesn't it?
Protect the owners from going. I think it's to protect the owners from themselves. Genuinely.
No, but there's definitely even if you have that opinion, I think it's also fair to say as the byproduct of that, it keeps smaller clubs where they are.
Not necessarily, because they can still build themselves up. Look at
But it takes a long time.
Look at Leicester.
It takes a long time.
Look at Leicester.
Because one second, the only reason
build yourself up.
The only reason why is more. Let me finish.
I'm pro FFP PSR, right? But even I say, at the very least, as a byproduct,
no. But the reason why in the Premier League is more prevalent is because there's 6 teams already that are much bigger than everybody else.
Yes.
In other leagues, there's only like 2 or 3 max. Where in the Premier League, there is not enough space potentially for another team to generate that spot for 15 years.
Listen, I grew up in the 90s, right? You can't say that there are less big teams than there were in Serie A back in the day. The fact is back then you had Roma, you had Lazio, you had Juve, you had Inter, you had AC Milan. That's fine.
But unfortunately now those teams generate less than Newcastle.
But that's the reason is because the Premier League is valued so high, not because the clubs are bigger.
No, but unfortunately, because they don't generate enough money, they can't get the top players. Hence, their quality of their team.
Why they're not generating so money? That's Rack's point. Though.
Because their league is not generating as much money as the Premier League.
Yeah, we know that.
And the reason why the Premier League is generating as much money as it is because of the top team. So you should actually be grateful.
I don't know. Next time I see you.
Oh my God, Egal.
So we all
but let's be honest.
It's like that scene from Oliver Twist. We'll be with our bowl for the next 10, 15 years. Thank you, Egal. Thank you, Big Six. Maybe just one.
No, but you know the reality. Newcastle, Aston Villa, Brentford, all these guys, they want to say it's unfair for them. But the actual reality is they've been able to get up to the Champions League. But then they're not able to sell. But they're not able to sell any assets right now. Newcastle has. Let's bring it back to the topic. Newcastle has the capability of selling Alexander Isak for £150 million. How you reinvest that money could take you to the level where you consistently are in the Champions League. But can you reinvest?
How about we keep our best player, give him the wages he wants, and add to it?
Can you afford to give him 300k a week?
I would love that story.
How about this?
Our best players?
TOON, can you afford to give Alexander Isak a 5-year deal on 300k a week?
100%.
In the case you don't get Champions League football,
you don't have to ask me that.
But in the case you don't get Champions League football, can you still afford to pay his wages?
This is our whole argument. Yes, we can. That's our owners can take the hit.
You can't afford to pay him 300k a week if your club is not back in Champions League every year.
This is my whole point. My owners can. If you're worried about
but your owners can't pump in enough money to always serve. Listen,
why can't we pump in enough money, Egal?
Because you have to protect the owners from themselves.
No.
If the owners,
what prevents us from pumping in more money,
bro? If the owners consistently pump in money,
that's
forget about PSR for a second. Even if your owners pumped in enough money to pay his wages, you would be operating on a loss. It doesn't make sense.
All football clubs operate on a loss.
No, they don't. The top clubs don't operate on losses. The majority of them make a big killing.
I think the average Premier League loss is 200 million a season in the Premier League. I think something like that.
I'm not saying every club has to be self-sustaining. You could definitely have owners that pump in money,
really?
But there has to be an understanding that there is rules and regulations.
Yes, there's Egal's understanding of rules and regulations.
In place to safeguard.
Just wait 10, 15 years and you might just get into the Champions League. Thank you.
Bro. The easiest way possible is there's owners out here. If they could, they would do as much as money, invest as much money as they can in a short period. And then it gets to a point where they can no longer invest, or they run out of money, or they have a financial.
Do you think my owners are going to go broke?
I'm not saying your owners are going to go broke, but you're in a
all the clubs. Situation. Out of all the owners in this league, it's so super unlikely that it's my owners that are going to go broke.
You know something? You had Mike Ashley for years.
Yes, we did.
It's because of the Premier League share.
What are you going to say? We'll make great again.
It's because of the share.
You should say thank you for that, minute. You say
it's because of the shares.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's because of the shares of the Premier League money and the rules and regulations at the time where Newcastle did not get overtaken by championship teams.
I don't understand.
They got relegated, didn't they?
Because you have a fan base. Because you have a fan base and you generate a certain amount of money, it allows you to stay in a tier.
Egal. Before Mike Ashley came here, and Rack will know this, Richie will know this, Newcastle were the 6th highest revenue-producing club in the Premier League. We were a consistent club in the Champions League. I don't know if you're aware of this.
I know that, bro.
You're probably one of the best teams not to win the league, I'd say, in the 90s.
Exactly. You're talking to us like we're like some backward club.
Do you know what I think we've gone this way? You know, if you get promoted, do the rules, okay, the team that got penalised the most took the most risks, Nottingham Forest, and they got where they were by gambling. They signed a crazy amount of players. They presumably broke the rules. I don't know exactly, but they got points deducted.
They did. Yeah, they got fined, didn't they?
But on the basis of that, they had the best ever season. And otherwise, if you come up and don't spend, look what happened last season. You come up, you just get relegated without. You don't even get 30
Unfortunately,
points.
in football right now, the cheaters get rewarded. That's the problem.
That's what I mean. I said to if I had Newcastle's owners, why don't Newcastle's owners just go forget the rules, spend like a crazy amount of money?
You know what?
We've misjudged it, and just take the.
Newcastle can't attract the top talent yet because they've not had enough establishment where people are saying, you know what, that's the destination I want to go to, even though they have a quality team.
Is Tonali a top talent?
What?
If they spend.
Is Tonali a top talent?
Yeah, Tonali is a top talent.
Gordon a top talent?
Yeah, he's decent.
Is Bruno Gomes a top talent?
Morris is decent.
Bruno Gomes is.
Yeah. How about Isak?
Isak at the time was a top talent, yeah.
Yeah, so we're doing pretty well.
No, but but at the same time, you're bringing up and coming players. None of them were established.
Listen. Can I just say something?
Tonali maybe.
Like you are.
Tonali maybe.
Listen. I'm just going to make a point about Newcastle because I'm going to forget it. Yeah, listen.
Newcastle. Better be good.
Newcastle, are a stepping stone club. That's what they are.
So it's not good then.
No. They're a stepping stone club. Even if they do decide to keep Isak and spend $400, Isak can be like, listen, you want to throw money at you want to throw money at me? I can just go either Saudi, and if I can't get my Liverpool deal, then that's it. You can just go to Saudi and earn bare money. Al Hilal or any club in Saudi would probably offer loads of money. With Tonali, and listen, Tonali, Gomes aren't elite players. They're just decent in it. Tonali are higher than Gomes, Newcastle are just a steady team in it. They're always going to be steady. If they can have the best owners, but even if you have loads of money and you have the ability to get players, I'm sorry, but
so even if you can spend money, even if
you can spend loads of money,
excellent.
No, even if you've got loads of money in the world, you have to have pull. You have to have transfer pull. Something that United can have, despite their being rubbish. But listen,
Like being able to pay his wages, right?
No, it's not about paying wages. It's about attracting players and getting
So Mbeumo would go to you for half his wages.
Do you know how much he's on, by the way? His wages.
How much is he on?
It's not been said.
Well,
it's not been said.
I swear there was reports that he was coming. Yo, 1 second.
It's not been said.
Ahmed, I don't know why you're talking. You're about to sign Jackson.
He's not good. They don't have money for a striker.
Listen. Let me tell you something about Newcastle. You
know what? Man United have such great pool that they can sign Jackson without even paying the transfer fee. How about that,
bro? Listen, I'll be so honest with you. You've just got Elanga, who is an awful player, and you've missed out on Mbeumo, you've missed out on Cunha, you've missed out on all your top targets.
Yeah.
Newcastle, with all that money, bearing in mind you had a better season than United. You finished up with us. You've got better owners. Our ownership here, Ineos, we don't even like Ineos. They own 25%.
Everyone's got better owners.
They manage exactly. They've managed to get 2 players that Cunha, that your club wanted, and Mbeumo.
For how much? How much did you pay for Mbeumo?
We paid Cunha's release clause, and we also paid 65 mil for Mbeumo with 5 million add-ons as well. So if you want to combine,
Brentford quoted us 50 million. You ended up paying 71. I love that pool that you got.
Did you put the price? Did you put the bid, by the way, for 50 mil? Why didn't you get him then?
Because he was we didn't want to pay 50 mil. He wasn't worth 50 mil.
No. You didn't get Mbeumo because Mbeumo did not want you and he wanted United.
You can believe that, but you can also...
No, David Ornstein said that.
Okay, so what was our bid? You tell me, Ahmed. What did
you didn't
bid?
put a bid in because he said no.
You did bid. I think I don't know if it's true, but I thought that Newcastle weren't interested because they thought the price was too high at the start.
Yes.
I don't know if that's true. That's what I thought.
Is.
Like that was the price in 60.
No, but the thing is deeper though. How can they say the price is too high when they just splashed 55 on Elanga?
One thing I would say is that the add-ons within Embremo are related to, I think, maximum add-ons are only paid if we get Champions League football. So
surely he doesn't go to Al Hilal. They offered him 600k a week.
No, but am I wrong in what I'm saying though?
Yes.
How debunk it? How am I wrong, by the way?
I don't even know what your overall point to that is, apart from
my point is,
Newcastle just rubbish.
Okay, no, I didn't say Newcastle were rubbish. My point is, you can have the best ownership. You can have
so Newcastle just rubbish. Like no matter best owners, best players, all the money in the world, and we're never going to achieve anything. Okay, that's the overall point.
My point is that you do not have pull because you're not that good.
Okay.
Did I say that doesn't mean you're rubbish? That's just me
that means
saying.
We're great. We're so incredibly good.
No, you're just taking it the wrong way. I'm just being honest.
How else can I take it? I don't understand.
Nah, you guys are taking the piss. Listen,
how?
I was. Can I just say this quickly? I just heard Ahmed right now. You guys are actually in for. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Please do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so, and leave a comment down below what you thought of that video you just watched.